come into the fray.
What is the role of the UN peacekeepers who are in eastern Congo? More thousands are being sent right now.
Well, there are 17,000 peacekeepers, UN peacekeepers in eastern Congo. They're being kept there or maintained there to the tune of $1 billion a year. However, Congo is the size of Western Europe. You have about one peacekeeper for every 10,000 people or so. So they have a daunting task to try and bring about peace and stability in the region. So they've had difficulty protecting the civilian population. So you have Nkunda's troops really running circles around the UN troops. In addition to that, the UN troops, the mandate is limited. They don't have an offensive mandate. So that makes it even more difficult for them to rout the rebel forces of Laurent Nkunda. But I must say, Amy, the issue is not even so much the UN forces. What we see in the Congo is policies coming from the West that prioritize profit over the people. Kabila himself was installed in 2006 in elections that were held in the Congo with the full backing of the Western powers, to the exclusion of the pro-democracy and grassroots forces inside the Congo. So you hear today experts in the media saying, well, Kabila should control the country, or he should do more with his own troops who've also been accused of committing atrocities. But it's not in the political DNA of the Kabila government to govern. The government actually reigns, but it does not govern. And when it was put in place by the Western nations, they knew very well what the outcome would be, because he was put in place in order to provide unfettered access for Congo's vast mineral resources to Western corporations. And this has been documented in Foreign Policy magazine back in 2006 by Paul Bouvier and John Engelbert. They clearly stated that the U.S. and Western nations were prioritizing stability over democracy. We argued at that time that that the U.S. or the Western nations would get neither stability nor democracy because the policies were flawed in the first place.
What do you see a new Obama administration doing? What do you want it to do?
Well, with the Obama administration, Obama is very familiar with the situation in the Congo. And he said, if Africa is to achieve its promise, resolving the problem in the Congo would be critical. Therefore, the logical extension of that argument is that Congo should take priority in his new term. And if Congo is going to take priority, we're hopeful, or we expect, that the policies that the U.S. has had towards Congo and Africa in general will radically change. That is to say, the change from to where the policies serve the interests of the people of Africa as opposed to serving foreign corporations.
What do you see as the chief difference Obama would take with what President Bush is doing right now?
Well, one critical indication or first step that will give us some insight into what they're going to do has to do with how they approach Congo in particular and Africa in general. That is to say, are they going to go look at Africa from a perspective of charity and militarization? Or are they going to look at Africa from a perspective of justice? And if the Obama government gets rid of the Donald Rumsfeld AFRICOM that's been proposed, then that will be a sign that they're looking to change their relationship with Africa. Because right now we have AFRICOM on the table, which furthers the militarization of the African continent. And if the Obama government continues that policy, then that will be a sign that they're heading in the wrong direction. So we're hopeful that they will put justice and the people as priorities and radically change and fundamentally change the way the United States and Western nations deal with the African continent.
Maurice Carney, I want to thank you very much for being with us. Maurice Carney is with the organization Friends of the Congo. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. In our last segment, we'll be talking about Michelle Obama with biographer Liza Mundy, who wrote a book called Michelle. But first, we're going to look at regulations that are being pushed through in these last days of the Bush administration. Stay with us.